Morning, rise and shine. Welcome, Uncle Sam's Static Kaleidoscope, Bedlam Media's premier morning podcast. It's to kick off your morning right and help you get through your busy workday, or in this case, your morning commute. Guys, before we start, this is being pre-recorded, so Super Bowl hasn't happened yet. It is the day of the Super Bowl. I'm recording this, so whoever won, congrats, awesome, yada yada yada. You know, maybe later on in the week I'll record something with a little more updated on that. Don't forget to like, follow, subscribe. Bedlam Media on YouTube, on Facebook. YouTube, Facebook. I feel like there was something else on X. That's the other one. X, Twitter, whatever you want to call it. Don't forget to follow my show, my wrestling show, Above the Ring with Scott, as well as the man in back, Ethan himself. So with the Super Bowl side, if you know me, you knew this conversation was going to come up. I do a lot of wrestling. I cover a lot of wrestling stuff, but wrestling isn't like my maybe longest I don't know if passion's the word I'm looking for. But if you know me, you know this conversation was going to happen. So there was an announcement, I believe, last week that progressive metal band Dream Theater is recording their 16th album. They're, back in the studio. It's their first album with Mike Portnoy since 2009's Black Clouds and Silver Linings. I'm heavily looking forward to this. I've been listening to Dream Theater pretty much since middle school. My uncle got me into them around the time I think the album Train of Thought came out, and then they did the Live at Budokan DVD, the 3-hour performance. I've seen them probably more than any other band. I've seen them like about 10 times. I'd say my favorite band. It's like them and Pink Floyd are like tied. If you ask why, it's like both of them. I really can't if you were to ask me what I like about one or the other, to me, I can throw anything of theirs on and start to finish enjoy it and really have no complaints. I think the other band that might be sneaking up there is Rush. I love Rush, but I want to focus on Dream Theater. Yeah, so back in October of 23, we're like 5 months now, Mike Portnoy announced that he was returning to the band after leaving in 2010. That was when he was drumming for Avenged Sevenfold after the Rev died. They'd recorded the album Nightmare with him because they wanted the Rev's favorite drummer, who happened to be Mike Portnoy, drum. So drumming for them. I think the album went platinum, and he's like, okay, we should take a hiatus, guys. And you can feel how you want to about this, 50-50. I know he was seeing bigger things, bigger success. He wanted to kind of like go do the rock star thing, if you will. And the rest of the band's like, okay, cool, but we don't want to stop. Again, you can argue, maybe they should have taken a break. Maybe you don't like everything with Mangini. Mangini's a great drummer. The writing style slightly changed. But I'm curious to see what they're going to deliver now with Portnoy back on drums, because Mike had a lot of control over writing pretty much anything. And that's not like an attack on the man. That's just who he is. I read his book. I read their book last year, which had the updated notes from 2010 after the breakup. Not breakup, the leave, whatever you want to call it. And Mike had a lot of control over things. He has an OCD thing. He just needs to have things organized. He needs to have everything in front of him. He needs to just have his hands in everything. And there's nothing wrong with that. There's plenty of people like that. But yeah, I think you could definitely tell with, I think, John and Jordan taking the lead on the following albums. After reading that book, I went back and listened to everything start to finish. From When Dream and Day Unite, Image and Words, Awake, to Scenes from Memory, Octavarium. That was the first tour I saw them on. I saw them on 2 nights before they recorded the Radio City Music Hall show, which is kind of cool. Everything up to the last album, A View of the Top of the World. I've listened to that one a couple of times. I have to go back and listen to it again. There's certain things on there I don't care for. And maybe that's just a thing when, some bands, they've been doing this, playing for a while, and then the music you listen, you're just like, okay, this is, we all grow, we all learn to like different things. I've always liked a lot of different music. But I have to go back and re-listen to that album. But no, it's been 14 years. 14 years. This will be their first album in 16 that they've been in the studio. So I'm looking to see. We've seen how it is with removing Mike from the equation. Now he's back in the equation. Obviously, and I don't, all met each other in college pretty much. John and John go back into like middle school. So with the dynamic is going to be a little different. It is Mike, and it's Mike's playing, and I know how Mike, revolutionary drummer. I would make the argument that bands like, Periphery, Between the Buried and Me, some of these modern progressive metal bands wouldn't exist today if it wasn't for this band. Especially Mike. Mike was, some people argue, well, there's people who drum faster than better than. Yeah, sure. Got it. But they became, the poster boys for the genre, and they definitely changed it. They kept it alive. They kept progressive music alive when it was definitely not popular, especially throughout the 90s, late 80s, the whole 90s, up until the mid 2000s. I've had a conversation with a couple of my friends. I would make the argument progressive music became cool again about, what are we looking at? Between the Buried and Me, Colors came out. So that was 2007, 2008. But I think Without Dreams, that time period from like like 89 to about 2007 almost wouldn't exist. And yeah, there are plenty of other bands. You can talk about Symphony X, you can talk about, Porcupine Tree, Opeth, a lot of these other favorite bands of mine. Dillinger was there forever. But regardless, really looking forward to how he gets reinstituted. How much control is he gonna have? Is he gonna have as much as he did before? I don't think so. In regards of the production, in regards of the mixing, I know reading the book, it was really, really eye-opening. If you guys get a chance to read it, if you like to read, where some producers said they're some of the most difficult people to work with because they like doing things on their own. They like doing their own thing. And as nice as the guys are, I've never seen a bad interview where they're just jerks, or they're, they talk down to people. Some of the producers, some of the mixers, the engineers that they've worked with said they're some of the most, difficult guys, not in like a bad way, because they're like perfectionists. They know what they want. And there's nothing wrong with that. I'm the same way. I was waiting for a long time to find a podcast format, something I could do that I wanted. I've worked with a bunch of other people. I've had other guests on. I've messed around with the format. Not really, I had to be perfect. Even when I was in high school, before I had a hand injury before college, me and my younger brother, we wanted to start a band, and we knew what we wanted. And they were playing other people, we can come do this. And had we actually put the time and effort to do that and pursue that, we probably been a little difficult to work with, because this is, we had a vision. This is what we wanted to do. This is how it was going to get done. And that's part of art. Art's like that. When you're an artist, and I get it, we deal with, money. You're dealing with, you can't just take somebody's money and then lose it. They do want to make a profit. They do want to make revenue. They're trying to make money off of you. So they want to make sure it's worth it. But sometimes it pays off being difficult. I know during Images and Words, I think Mike was probably the nastiest in these in the interviews in the books, where he's just like, this is what I wanted, and this guy's like, he's going off. But yeah, I don't know. I'm still processing it personally. I'm looking forward to it. I cannot wait to hear what they put out. I'm assuming it's gonna be like 2024, and then they'll go on tour, and I'm looking forward to that tour. I will be going regardless of where and when it is. I was going to go see them this past year with Devin Townsend and Animals as leaders, and then I think I just wasn't feeling good that day, so I just ended up not going. It was down in Clearwater. The other thing I'm kind of curious about is what they're going to do with the Mangini era music. Will they continue to play that? I would assume so. I mean, that's like 13 years of music right there. Everything from Dramatic Turn of Events to A View from the Top of the World. There's a lot of music there. A lot of, I think, solid tracks. Not as no, this still playing. I can't talk for anyone. I'm gonna talk for myself. I do enjoy it. I like it. Is it as strong as the stuff prior? No, not all the time. Dramatic Turn, I think, is a little more. The self-titled I liked. The concept album was kind of long. Actually, I thought it was really long. You go back and there's quite a bit of filler, but it's not like I don't not care for it. I'll listen to it start to finish. Having this conversation, I'm gonna have to re-listen to the discography this coming week, as long as I'm not doing other things. Got a couple other things. I will be doing a couple of guest spots in the coming weeks for podcasts. So I think you guys need to keep an eye out. I will make note of it on X and on Facebook. So yeah, my favorite band is putting out their first album in 16 years with the original drummer. And probably one of the greatest drummers of all time. The silence should say a lot. It's a lot. I'm thinking about it. I'm looking forward to it. I mean, there's not much more I can say. I hope they do. They either tour solo, which is which I think with Portnoy, there's a huge chance they might, because it just gives them the showcase. Hey, we're back, and we're gonna celebrate it, and we want to celebrate it with you guys. Or they might go, we want to warm up a lot. I know they did LTE3, Rudess and Petrucci, but I don't know if the rest of the guys want to get together and just like, hey, let's just tour solo, or maybe we'll have an opener. We'll tour with somebody else, kind of like warm up. Maybe that's the first tour. Maybe that's Europe. I don't know. I would not mind seeing another 3-hour show, and I hope they do a live album for this. I'm hoping, because their live performances, I've seen them 10 times. And actually, I was at least 2 live recordings. So the first one I was at was, oh man, what was it? It was the Systematic Chaos tour, and the DVD for that. There's like 3 tracks I had from the Boston show. And then when they played the show in Boston with the orchestra, with the Berkeley Orchestra, I was there for that. I already bought tickets, and then it was the coolest thing. Like, oh, by the way, we're recording this with an orchestra. Me and my friends, we lost it. I was excited. Because again, not many people get to see their favorite bands. Not many people get to see their favorite bands perform a live DVD. Never mind be at the performances a couple of times. And actually, they even have their performance from 2010, the last time I saw them with Portnoy, with Iron Maiden, when they opened up for Iron Maiden at Madison Square Garden. That was done through the, I think, I'm going to say Itchy Jam, but that was the old vinyl, or the old demos they used to do. It's whatever it's called now. I don't have it in front of me. But they released the Madison Square Garden show, the short, like 6-7 minute set that they played, which was fun. It was still fun, still a blast. But you'll be hearing a lot about this. This is one of those topics. A lot going on this year. But this one I'll be focusing on. I'm looking forward to it. Maybe we'll get it in the fall. That would be awesome. If we got this album in the fall, maybe I'll do a review. I don't know. Maybe I'll do a guest review. Maybe we'll do a little longer episode to talk about it. Keep an eye out. Keep your ears out. Like I said, guys, I will be doing shows with a couple of different people to, promote the podcast, network, check them out. Wrestling related, non-wrestling related. I think one's a movie. Still got to find the date on that. Don't forget to listen to Above the Ring Rising the Sun with Ethan and Scott covering wrestling. We got a lot coming up. Like I said, Road to WrestleMania. We will be at WrestleMania 40, Scott and myself, as well as former contributor John, the Stat Man. Coverage will be happening there when we're in Philly. If you're not do so, please follow us on YouTube, Facebook, and X. Find me on X as the SLB Official. And guys,